Let me start with a situation I see all the time. A business owner reaches the point where they know they need help. Their schedule is packed, their inbox is overflowing, their to-do list keeps growing, so they decide it's time to hire. The first hire they make is usually something like a cold caller or an ISA, an inside sales agent, or someone focused entirely on generating more leads. The thinking makes sense. If we just bring in more leads, the business will grow. But here's the problem. When the operations of your business still depend on you to coordinate everything, more leads often just creates more chaos. Now, before we go deeper into that, quick introduction in case this is the first episode you're catching. I'm Adrienne Green, co-founder of Workergenics, a virtual staffing agency where we help business owners and entrepreneurs in the United States get amazing virtual executive assistants. Normally, my husband, Harley Green, hosts this podcast, but for this short series, I've been stepping in as a guest host. Before starting Workergenics, I built and later sold a real estate team, and learning how to leverage virtual assistants inside that business was one of the biggest reasons it was able to grow the way it did. And if you want to hear more about that, go back 2 episodes where I get into all the details. Because in this short series, we've been talking about how business owners create leverage inside their business using virtual assistants. Now, like I said in the first episode, I shared the story of how I first started working with virtual assistants and how that changed the trajectory of my business and my life. In the second episode, we talk about when hiring help actually doesn't make sense yet, because not every business needs additional leverage. And today we're going to talk about the next step. When you are ready to hire, when your business could use that leverage, what role should you hire first? Because this is where a lot of business owners accidentally make things a lot harder for themselves. Now, when entrepreneurs decide it's time to grow, they often start by hiring someone focused on sales or marketing. In real estate and other industries, this could look like a cold caller, an ISA, a lead manager, maybe somebody who's running ads or focused solely on marketing. And the idea is simple. More leads will equal more growth. But here's what often happens instead. The new marketing or sales activity does start to produce results. There's more leads or more inquiries, more emails, more calls, and also more follow-ups. And while this has some good stuff going on, every one of these things creates additional operational work. Someone has to respond to the inquiries, schedule the calls, organize the calendar, update the CRM, send the follow-ups that actually convert those leads into clients, prepare the documents, track communication, coordinate everything. And very often that someone is still the business owner, the solopreneur, and instead of reducing their workload, the new hire actually increases it. And we're not often seeing that increase in income because some of those leads are just falling through the cracks. And this leads to one of the biggest realizations many business owners eventually have. The problem usually isn't a lack of opportunity. The problem is that the business owner becomes the operational bottleneck. Every small decision passes through them. Every coordination task lands in their inbox. Every piece of information needs their attention. And that creates friction and limitation, not because the owner isn't capable, but because there's simply a limit to how many things one person can do in a day. And that's why simply adding more leads to the top of that business funnel isn't always going to solve the problem. If the operational side of the business isn't supported, growth can actually make things harder instead of easier. This is why in many businesses, the most powerful first hire is actually an executive assistant. And this is what I did myself in my business. I had an executive assistant handle my bottom 80%, all the operations, the follow-up, the administration work, so that I could focus on the top 20%, which included servicing the clients with only the work that I could do and marketing and lead gen.
If you're running a growing company and still handling too many operational details yourself, there's a better way forward. The Delegate or Die checklist shows you the exact tasks that drain leadership bandwidth and the simple changes that recover 15 to 30 plus hours a week. Download it free at workergenics.com/scale-smart. Now let's get back to the episode.
Now, an executive assistant doesn't just complete tasks. They take ownership of the operational layer of the business. Things like managing your inbox, drafting emails so that you can just review and send, or maybe even sending emails on your behalf, organizing your calendar and helping schedule calls, coordinating those meetings, and then tracking the follow-ups, doing all that follow-up that often falls through the crack. Maintaining the CRM so that you're accurately tracking all those new leads that you're able to get because you're doing more lead gen and marketing. Handling client onboarding so that you can actually get these clients serviced and get them into paying clients, preparing documents, supporting all those marketing logistics. Something I shared in the first video was I was able to really get a lot more business because I could do marketing. Like I just recorded the video and my virtual assistant did everything else to get that video posted on YouTube, to get clips on socials, to make it out in the world. I did 10 minutes of work. They did a few hours to get that done so we could put out more videos. The executive assistants also help keep projects organized. I was able to host events, talk about marketing and lead generation. I was able to host investor meetups because my virtual executive assistant was the one coordinating everything and keeping it organized. Now, all of this is stuff that's happening in a growing business, but it doesn't necessarily require the business owner or the entrepreneur to personally do them. So when executive assistant takes ownership of these responsibilities, something powerful happens. The business owner gets their time back, and that time can be reinvested in that top 20% work that actually drives growth, strategy, relationships, decision making, leadership, all of those things that only you can do. Now, inside Workergenics, we often refer to something called the executive efficiency flywheel. It starts with one simple shift: reduce the administrative load on the business owner. Once that happens, a few things begin to compound. The leader has more clarity, so decisions happen faster. Communication becomes more organized. Projects move forward more consistently, and the business starts to gain momentum. Many leaders spend 30 or more hours every week on administrative work that could be delegated. That's almost 4 full workdays. When that time is reclaimed, it creates enormous capacity within your business. Now, if you want to see exactly what tasks might be taking up your time that you could hand off to an executive assistant, one of the best things that you can do is a simple time audit. And that's why my team created the Executive Efficiency Blueprint. Inside this guide, you'll find a simple framework to help you identify which tasks are strategic and which ones could be delegated. You can download that guide below or visit us at workergenics.com/EEB. And if you're curious about what working with a virtual executive assistant might look like inside your own business, you can also schedule a conversation with the Workergenics team. Well, thank you guys for joining me on this short series as I came in and joined the Scale Smart, Grow Fast podcast. Harley will be back hosting the podcast in the next episode. And hopefully these conversations helped you think a little differently about how leverage works inside a business. Because sometimes the biggest opportunity for growth isn't working harder, it's stopping the work that doesn't actually require you.